Okay, dann untersuchen wir mal hier. Oha. Das ist sehr... Ich glaube, das ist bisher die interessanteste... Den interessantesten Tatort, den wir hatten. Oder? Was hatten wir denn bisher? Ja gut, der Omnibus war noch cool, weil man den auch so 3D-mäßig untersuchen konnte, aber... Das hier sieht noch cooler aus. Gucken wir uns erstmal das Riesenrad hier an. Oh, what is that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, that's the Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins you can see. Why? Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning? But it looks completely still. Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go in one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, you know? Aber, hä? Eine halbe Stunde? Habe ich das richtig gelesen? Eine halbe Stunde? About half an hour. Welches Riesenrad braucht denn eine halbe Stunde? I don't know about that. Ich weiß ja nicht. Ich weiß ja nicht. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently. And mercilessly. So someone stand in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed. Not blasted. That's the point. Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible though, Iris? Oh, no, I'm just a child. How should I know? A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think if you were to... Stop! Don't touch that! If you were to pull this lever here. That was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Grexy. Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. So sorry, you can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it. Ah, wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful. It's just like old times, this is. Oh Mann, sie hat ihn fest in ihrer Hand. We are representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ha! Listen, Sunshine. Even I am not allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act to blame. It's driving me potty. Oh yes, that special dispensation. Lagerung, oder? Dispensation? Aufbewahrung? Station. Zuteilung, Verteilung, Austeilung, Nachlieferung. Okay. The professor mentions that too. More wet tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes. But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Eh? Surely that's alright, isn't it, Grexy? Course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. But please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you? Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Bruno? She really knows how to get what she wants. Okay, dann können wir uns das angucken hier. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Hairbrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. We should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, you hear? I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims? He asked, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we? Because of the annoying rules, you mean? Exactly! The annoying, obstructive, flaming rules. Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think. Und der Griff soll ein A symbolisieren, oder was ist das? Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of a capital letter A. Yeah, okay. It is. Oh yes, you're right. What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, I said. Yes, I understand. Sorry. I only touched the teeny weeny bit. But Grexy, I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really very curious. Course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it. But Bruno found it first. I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. He's gone off with it. That was very mean, I'm afraid. Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now. Poor Grexy. Okay. Also den Schraubendreher hat er genommen. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. I investigated thoroughly. Okay, schade. Was haben wir hier hinten noch? There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the great exhibition grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time. Oh, in your country, Bruno? I do wish I could go and see it. I present a particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Hurley's stories I'd written especially. And see if I couldn't get Hurley into a jam against some Batitsu master ninjas. Bitte was? Steely samurai with a present... Oh no! I present a particularly steely samurai. Ein Steely Samurai, ne? Steel Samurai, ja moin. Dankeschön für diese Reference. I wish I could go and see it. And see if I couldn't get Hurley into a jam against some Baritsu master ninjas. You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think. Oh. Well, that's style. Oh, but I do know a prosecutor with a Chon Mage top knot I was introduced to you. A Chon Mage? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him? Do you? Yeah, that Chon Mage top knot is leider no more. As dead. Chon Mage? Keine Ergebnisse, genau, aber es war ja dieser Haarbüschel, den Pain oder Ouchie auf seiner Stirn hatte. Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago. Yes. Okay. Haben wir hier noch irgendwas? Sonst gehen wir nach oben. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. Können wir mal kurz appreciaten, wie cool der Background gerade ist? Oder allgemein die Bilder hier? Das ist einfach Next Level, würde ich sagen. Ey, das mit den ganzen Ballons und so, das hat man echt selten. Das hat man echt selten. Das ist eigentlich gar nicht. The amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. I suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they are shot out of that thing to wherever they are going. I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, we know. It was set up to beam people to the crystal tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? Okay, also hier... Aber das hier oben ist gar nicht beschädigt. Wenn es so eine fette Explosion war, warum ist das hier oben nicht beschädigt? Aber ich muss auch sagen, das hat ein bisschen so ein Dr. Dobenschmerz-Vibe an sich, ne? Von Phineas und Ferb. So wie so ein Inator, den er hat. So those are people carrying balloons, dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly. But I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful, floating Tamari handballs. I'm sure it must feel amazing, being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Bruno. Please! Colorful floating Tamari handballs. If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast, I don't guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground. I'm too scared. Oh well, in that case I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode. Yes. Call me crazy, but I think that the exploding part might play on my mind a little. Ja, stimmt. Weil wenn die Luft rausgeht, ist es ja immer noch ein Fallschirm, ne? Okay. Dann haben wir hier alles, I guess. Da können wir noch conversen. Oh, wir können noch conversen mit ihm. Okay, dann reden wir nochmal mit ihm. Government Policy. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body. And then beam him across the crystal tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public. True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition, mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean. The government's doing everything they can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They are more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see? Yes, I suppose that's true in a way. So the powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment. What sort of rights? They are making it so that any theories the brains have remains their legal property, as it were. Das ist ja auch richtig so, das ist wichtig und richtig. Right to developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because the new Highfalutin Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. Highfalutin, was heißt das denn? Highfalutin. Hochtrabend, okay. Ah, I see now. The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the yard. The Forensic Investigation Team it's called, who have been relegated to keeping guard. The Forensic Investigation Team. Any old fool can see that this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with. But just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it. Poor Grexy. He's very head up, isn't he? Okay. Any old fool can see that this heap of scrap metal was a sand to begin with. Special dispensation. Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we are not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's a special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Yes. I think Curly mentioned that recently, with a weird twinkle in his eye, as I remember. I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Perhaps especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present the ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee for it, guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality. What does it really mean? Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself. Thanks for that. Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun. It might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Hang science, that's what I say. Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job. You'd soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions. Sham ist Betrüger, ne? Also, just for your information. Und bogus? Bogus ist auch Humbug oder so. Bogus. Betrügerisch. There'd be no point. There'd be no point. Was? But if they are all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point. Yeah, well, there's a point, sadly. Sorry? Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant. The scientists get funding? Exactly, and that's what they are all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't ya? Hang science, hang it. Naja, es ist keiner your Job, dass du hier aufpasst. Das ist halt, gehört zur Polizei dazu, wenn du ein Polizist bist. Oh, maybe I can see your point. Professor Hairbrain. Apparently Professor Hairbrain lives and works in Germany now conducting his research. That's right, came back to Britain especially for the great exhibition as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education. It turns out he was at university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zieks. Eh? What's that? That's news to me. But if Van Zieks mans the prosecution, then as accused, the professor's fate is sealed. Because the Reaper will get him one way or another. Blimey, that man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head office. Talking of Van Zieks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that? Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about. Yes, right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder? The mystery of the Reaper. The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Assman. He was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard. Lord Baroque Van Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win. Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it? Also, die Juroren wurden bestochen. Korruption, Leute. Korruption. Ja. Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court. Although the man himself denies the charge. Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we reach is that Lord Van Zieks is in no way related to the death of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would. But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just have coincidentally died if nobody killed them. I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper. Professor Hairbrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind. You what? He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was? No clue. Really? Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime spree. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh? Okay, da bricht er das Thema schnell ab. Okay. Present vielleicht nochmal hier irgendwie was. Inspector, have you read this paper? Yeah, 2 unwelcome blasts back to back. This one at the exhibition and the Reaper getting attacked. I know, terrible news to wake up to, wasn't it? I tried to pretend I hadn't read it and turned over for another 40 wings. Thanks to that, I was laid up and got a Wilson from the supper. Some mornings are like that, aren't they? Oh, ups. Achso, lol. Ich habe gar nichts gedrückt, sondern das sollte so sein. Dann wir nochmal das. Wheel and turned over for another 40 wings. Okay. The detective, what do you make of this? Personally speaking, 9 times out of 10 I find clues turn out to be red herrings. So there's every chance it's totally irrelevant. That's actually a fairly persuasive argument. Okay. Dann examinen wir all das hier nochmal. Beziehungsweise es gibt hier gar nichts mehr, oder? Haben wir noch was übersehen? Eigentlich nicht. Hier ist alles rot. Hier ist auch alles rot. Dann gehen wir... Wohin? Okay, hallo, guten Tag, wir sind gleich wieder weg. Ich möchte nochmal unten hin. Examine, hier wollte ich nochmal untersuchen. Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower. It's certainly an apt name. Was heißt apt? Das sind so Wörter, die tauchen immer wieder auf, aber ich habe trotzdem keine Ahnung, weil die so... Ja, die werden heutzutage nicht mehr so benutzt. Angemessen ist apt. Okay. It was built to be the focal point of the exhibition. And it definitely is, being so tall and with all that glass. I can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. Aber es ist doch fiktiv, ne? Also den Crystal Tower gab es doch nicht in London. Oder? Crystal Tower London. Als ob! Achso, es gibt den Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace Tower. Okay, der hat... Okay. Okay. Crystal Palace. Okay, lol. Crystal Palace, giant glass and iron exhibition hall in Hyde Park, London, that housed the Great Exhibition of 1851. Das heißt, diese Exhibition gab es wirklich. Und den Crystal Tower gab es auch. Ich glaube nicht in dieser Form, der ist ein bisschen imposanter als in der Real Life. Aber es gab den wirklich. Okay, crazy. Dann ist es ja historisch hier. I can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo and a museum. But I heard you have to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest door. And thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly it's not the crystal tower anymore, but the crystal glass shower. Apparently everyone's taking to the skies now to look down on the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. Okay. Hier geht's ja hoch. Okay, dann gucken wir hier uns das nochmal an. Als ob wir nicht die Großbritannien-Flagge examinen können. I've been meaning to ask you for a while now, but what are those funny round blobs floating in the sky? Oh, they are the flying balloons I've been talking about. I want to go up in one so much. I've read about situations like this in a magazine about strange phenomena. Creatures from outer space coming in round flying objects to attack Earth. What? I suppose inhabitants of other planets are bound to be interested in the great exhibition. This is it, Iris. It's happening. It's not, don't worry. I'll explain it all to you later over a nice cup of tea, Bruno. Genau, das sind UFOs. Okay. Haben wir hier denn noch was? Scheinbar ja nicht. Können wir noch mit Gina irgendwie reden? Converse? Scheinbar nicht. Können wir ihr noch was zeigen? Hier. Gina, would you take a look at... Oh, where did it go? Hehe, looking for this, Otto. When did she do that? I wonder if you've got anything else to show me, yeah? What do you reckon? Give that back first, please. Okay, experiment sketch. Gina, would you take a look at... Okay, es ist derselbe Dialog. Hä? Aber what are we to do then? Achso, wir wollen nochmal hochgehen. Wir gehen ja nochmal hoch. Bla bla. Converse? Ja, aber auch nichts Neues, oder? Okay. Dann... weiß ich nicht, was wir jetzt machen müssen. Prosecutor's Office waren wir. Prison vielleicht? Okay, keiner da. Lord Chief Justice's Office? Auch keiner da. Sholmes Suite? Auch keiner da. Oh, Naruto's Legal Consultancy? Ah, okay. Scheinbar mussten wir dahin. 22. Oktober, Naruto's Legal Consultancy. Oder auch nicht. Mal gucken. Spaten? Ja, Spaten. The office spade. Now that Mr. Sato's gone, the shovelers aren't represented to correct me. Maybe I'll have to do it myself. That's not a spade, Mr. Naruto. It's a shovel. Ah, so you're a spader, are you, Uno? What? You want to battle it out? Alright, I'm not going to argue with a native English speaker who has some kind of gun. Oh Mann. Aber, hä? Was müssen wir denn noch? Haben wir was vergessen? Experimentation Stage. Converse. Ich weiß gerade echt nicht weiter.